Hey, what is up guys? My name is Griefdrums and today we are going to be doing advanced map tips and tricks on Border. At the end of the last video, I asked you guys to vote for which map you wanted to see next. You voted for Border and I have been dragging my heels doing this video, so I can only apologise. I've been far too busy trying to get that diamond rank. As usual, we're going to start with some drone placements. The first one is in the tellers. If you jump up on top of the vending machine and then up onto this light or ornament or whatever it is, you can go one step further than this by jumping over onto these white boxes. You get a pretty good view of the room, or certainly the front half of it. The only issue with this is as soon as you open up the wall, no one's going to be stood there anymore. Next spot is in the same room, and it's on the opposite side to what we've just been looking at. By jumping up on top of the water dispensing machine and then up onto the white box again, you have a good view of the other side of the room. The other option is actually move into that other side of the room, jump up on top of this filing cabinet, up on top of the shelf, and you've got another set of white lights here. You can jump up on top of here for another good view. Out in one of the main corridors, you can jump up on top of this sign or the ticket dispensing machine and then up onto this white box with the lights. You can jump up on top of the camera, which is a pretty good spot because defenders aren't going to be looking at their own cameras really, so it's a good place to hide. You may have noticed that there is a ventilation duct running across the top of the room. There's a couple of ways you can get to it. You can get from where we just were, but these two are by far the easier ways to get there. If you go on top of this light over here, it's a fairly easy jump, and then you can just get on top of the ventilation ducting. From up here, you get some seriously good views, and you can move around quite a lot without being shot. You get a good view of the hallway itself, you get a good view of the shower area if you just drop down slightly. But the other way to get up there is by coming back into this first room, and instead of jumping up on top of the door, jump up on the computers and then up onto this shelf with the TV on it on the side. This one's probably a little bit easier to use and one that I found halfway through making this video, but it's definitely one I'm going to be using again in future. By running all the way across the top of the ventilation duct, if you go right the way to the end of it, you get a really cheeky view into the workshop, which is unlikely to get spotted purely because of the fact you're not even in the room. In the customs inspection room, you can jump up on top of the metal detector. Be careful, there's a gap in the middle of it. But you can go one step further and jump up on top of this room where the hostage is usually kept. From here, you can move around quite a lot and see a fair amount of the room. Out in the big open lobby, or the waiting room as it's called down on the compass, there are loads of places for you to hide. As you can see, this sort of tiers up like a set of steps. So if you jump up on top of the suitcase, up onto whatever the next thing is, I think it's a water dispenser, over onto the shelf, onto the TV, you can just keep climbing and climbing and climbing until you're high enough that you're out of eyesight, but you get a good view of the room. Obviously, you can stop at any of these points if you're happy with where you're hiding, or you can continue to climb further up. There is an even easier way to get a good view of the waiting room. By coming to the second floor, jumping up onto the ledge, you get a good view from here, but you're obviously going to stand out quite a lot. By moving over to the left-hand side, you can jump over onto this fan in the corner. This in itself is awesome. You get a great view, and you're quite well hidden. But we can go one step further than that by jumping up onto the ledge on the left-hand side. You get a better view of the room above and the tellers. You can move all around on this ledge, and it is awesome. There are drone placements you can get to on both sets of stairs. You can come up here and jump from the top ledge onto this one. This is fairly handy just to check it out and see if anyone's hiding up, keeping an eye on the hallway, or you can look down into the lobby area. To keep an eye on the other set of stairs, if you jump up onto the railing, turn around and aim slightly off to the left, it's really easy to get up here. Your view is fairly limited unless you jump up onto the plasterboard behind you by going up onto the railing first, as you can see here. And then you can go one step further than that by jumping up onto the ladder. This raises where you are and gives you just a better all-round view of the upstairs hall. Just next to the security room upstairs, there's this little cafeteria bit. You can jump up on top of this light, which gives you a sick view down into that room, but you are fairly obvious. You can hide on the fan, but you don't get a very good view, so it's kind of a trade-off. In the security room itself, however, the fan is a godsend. By going over onto the left-hand side, you can jump up on top of the fan from the shelf. This gives you a really good view. There are so many places to hide on this map, it is incredible. Just next to the server room downstairs, there's a ventilation duct above that is quite easy to get to just by jumping up on top of shelves. Or in the server room itself, there are thousands of places. I mean, literally everywhere on top of these servers you can hide. So by jumping up onto this table on the left-hand side, you can get up here, you can have a good old jump around from up here. Or alternatively, if you go round into the workshop area, you can jump up on top of all of these ladders and this pile of wood. So utilise all of this to your advantage. On the other side of the workshop, there's a workbench, funny that. There's a shelf just above it. Because you're next to a torch or a really bright light, your drone is really hidden here. In the locker room upstairs, there is a chair just as you go through the metal detector. By jumping up on top of that and then going slightly to the left, you can work your way up and up until you are able to reach the fan. From the fan you get a good view, or alternatively you can go one step further as per usual and jump up on top of this ventilation duct. You cannot move all the way along the ventilation duct, it is segmented by these. However, by moving along this section I'm just about to show you here, you do get a good view of the room and you're not immediately visible. In the middle of the room you can jump up on top of this. By looking at it you can see it's like a set of steps every single time. It's a giveaway the way the developers have made it. However, you can jump up on top of this ladder, you can get up on top of the ventilation duct as per the other side. But if you move out of the locker room and onto this bit, everyone is going to be saying you can climb on top of that. Yeah, I know you can. I'm not going to be showing it in this video just because everyone does it. It's pointless. But by jumping your drone here, you can get up on top of this shelf. Now this shelf offers a really good view of that room. On the opposite side of the room, you can jump up on top of the desk and then up on top of the clock. This is a good view of the same room from a different side. If you're playing bomb or secure area, a lot of people try and come in through this window and hide behind this vending machine. This is a great place to try and defuse the bomb. However, there is a really easy counter to it if you are defending. Up in this room with the circular roof, by blowing this section of the floor just here, you can see just down through there. If anyone tries planting there, you've got a really easy kill and hold of the diffuser. In the ventilation room just next to the server room, all the roof is wooden. This can work to your advantage if you're trying to defend that room and stop people getting in. Alternatively, if you're attacking, a lot of defenders hunker down here to protect the locker room. If you're playing as Ash, by jumping in this window and shooting out the floor, that immediately cuts that room in half and they can't defend that section. In the locker room just in front of where we were looking, by blowing open the floor here, as a defender you get a great view down onto the doorway. This can stop attackers coming in altogether. The same tactic can be applied on the opposite side of the map in the security room or just next to it. By blowing open this section of flooring here, you get another good view down onto the doorway coming in next to the customs inspection room. This can be brilliant to stop people getting in and you're protected by this wall. Pretty much the entire floor upstairs is breachable in one way or another. Even if you're just playing with a shotgun as a defender, by punching a load of holes in these certain positions, you get great views down into the room below. Now this is as far as you can get on this one because of the outside area, but this is somewhere where people like to try and plant the diffuser. As you're pushing into the customs inspections office, a lot of people push through this wall not knowing that the roof above them can all be breached. By blowing this section in the security room, you can lock that room down entirely. This can be immediately cut off as a point of entry, or alternatively you can let people in slowly and just pick them off as they're in the room. If you've got people holding them back downstairs, this can be a godsend. By utilising all three of these sections upstairs and blowing holes in the floor, you can quickly move between all of them to stop people from getting in the building. You can jump between the two upstairs rooms and just look down through each hole and pick people off. As the developers said when they released this map, this is by far the most destructible map there is, so you've got to utilise that to your advantage. Pretty much everywhere on the map you can blow up. It's insane. So make sure you do that. If you've got a shotgun, put holes everywhere. Have a good old look through them and pick people off as they enter. Hopefully these help. If they did, make sure to let me know in the comments below. If you know of any other tips and tricks that I should know about and that I haven't mentioned in this, again, let me know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to smash the hell out of that like button. And if you don't already, make sure to subscribe, as I've got 2 maps left to do as well as upcoming maps. Make sure to vote for the map that you want to see next by clicking on the card. And until next time guys, stay reckless and relentless.